You sleep beside her every night. But lately, it feels like sleeping next to a memory. Not because she's distant, not because she's angry, but because something went quiet. Something you didn't even notice leaving. It wasn't the laughter or the conversations. It was the touch. No more hand on the back when you're making coffee. No more leaning her head on your shoulder during television. No more fingers laced together just because. You didn't stop loving her. You just stopped reaching. And eventually, you stopped remembering what it felt like to be close, without needing a reason. She's still there, still folding laundry, still asking what you want for dinner, still beside you in bed. But her body doesn't lean in anymore, and yours doesn't either. So let me ask you something no one ever asks men like us. When was the last time you touched your wife? Not out of routine, but out of real, living love? Because over time, the body forgets what the heart doesn't fight to remember. And if that silence between your shoulders feels familiar, this is your invitation to close that space. Not with words, but with presence. There's a quiet statistic most couples never talk about. After age 50, over 60% of long-term partners report having little to no physical affection. Not just sex, but the little things. No more hand-holding, no spontaneous hugs, no lingering touch during conversation. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no big argument, no dramatic withdrawal, just a slow, gradual fading, until one day, the warmth is gone, and neither of you can say exactly when it left. You might tell yourself it's just age, that the body changes, that hormones shift, that maybe touch isn't necessary anymore. You chalk it up to sore joints, bad sleep, or just being too tired at the end of the day. And yes, some of that is true, but it's not the full story. Because even couples in perfect health can go months without real affection. Even marriages that are stable on the outside can feel cold on the inside. Why? Because the first thing to disappear isn't the touch itself. It's the attention behind it. It's the presence. We stopped touching when we stopped really looking at each other. You see, in the beginning, you touched without thinking. Your hand naturally found hers. Your arms reached for her in bed without hesitation. It wasn't calculated. It wasn't scheduled. It was instinct, désir, connection. But over time, you both got busy. The world got louder. The routine got heavier. And without realizing it, touch became another thing that had to wait. She waited for you to initiate. You waited for a right moment. And both of you started choosing safe silence over awkward effort. Eventually, what used to be natural now feels foreign. You sit beside each other on the couch, but keep a cushion between you. You lie down each night, but your backs face opposite directions. You reach for your phone, more than you reach for her hand, and somewhere in the quiet of it all, you start to feel not unloved, but unseen, unfelt. And here's the thing. When touch disappears, so does emotional oxygen. Because for many couples, especially after 50, physical affection is one of the last languages of love that still speaks clearly, when words are tired and life feels dull. But if no one speaks it, the relationship starts holding its breath. You still care. She still cares. But no one reaches first. No one leans in. And so you stay safe. But you stay apart. Men often believe women need words, compliments, affirmations, romantic gestures with the right timing. But the truth is, after 50, when life has carved its lines into her skin, and years have made her body less certain, what she craves most isn't poetry. It's presence. And sometimes, just the right kind of touch. Not the kind that asks for something, not the kind that leads somewhere, but the kind that says, "You're still safe with me." You see, for many women, especially after decades of giving, caring, and holding space for everyone else, physical affection becomes more than comfort. It becomes confirmation that she's still lovable, still noticed, still chosen. A hand on her back as she washes the dishes, a kiss on her forehead when she's not expecting it, fingers interlacing under the table, not for show, but for quiet reassurance. These are not grand romantic moves, but for her, they are loud declarations. Because here's what no one tells you. Touch says what words forget. It says, "You still matter to me." After 50, women begin to carry invisible weight, hormonal changes, fatigue, grief over parents lost, children moved out, a body that doesn't feel the same. In that space, even a simple embrace, one that holds but doesn't press, can feel like home. It tells her, I'm not just staying, I'm still showing up. And she may not say it out loud, but she notices when your touch turns from duty into intention. She notices when you hold her in silence, without fixing anything, without needing to speak. She notices when your hand lingers for just a second longer, and in that second, her body relaxes, her guard lowers. Her mind whispers, I'm safe, because for her, touch is not about function, it's about feeling. And what's most important, it's not about sex, it's about signal. It says, you don't have to perform to be loved. You don't have to be young to be wanted. You're not invisible here. A touch can remind her of the girl she used to be, and the woman she still is. It's a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, together. And sometimes, the softest gesture becomes the loudest love. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it with presence, because she remembers how you once touched her, not just with your hands, but with your full attention. And when you bring that back, even in small ways, her heart leans in before her body ever does. So maybe you're here now, realizing how long it's been since your hand reached for hers without a reason, and how far the warmth has drifted without either of you meaning it to. You're not alone, and you're not too late. But if touch has faded over time, you can't force it back overnight. You don't fix emotional distance with intensity. You fix it with consistency. So let's start small. No pressure, no awkward speeches, just a gentle rhythm like learning how to dance again with someone you love. 3 days, 3 quiet invitation, each one an act of presence, not performance. The first, offer touch without words. Tonight or tomorrow morning, gently place your hand on her back. Don't announce it. Don't overthink it. Just walk by her in the kitchen, or sit beside her on the couch. Let your palm rest between her shoulders, like it used to. Let it be soft. 3 seconds, maybe 5. Then release. She may flinch, or freeze, or maybe she won't react at all. And that's okay. You're not doing this to get a reaction. You're doing this to build a bridge, to remind her body, and yours, that safety can still begin with skin. What matters is that she feels your presence, without needing to brace for it. Then, once that rhythm has returned even slightly, we move toward truth. Later that day, or the next, find a quiet moment beside her. Sit near, not across the room near, close enough that silence doesn't feel like distance, just stillness. And then, reach for her hand, not to grip, not to guide, just to hold, like you used to, when no one was watching. Let your fingers wrap around hers. Let the weight of that contact say everything before your words do. And when the moment feels right, speak one small truth. Something like, I've missed sitting this close. Or, you feel familiar. I needed that today. That's it. Not a speech. Not an apology. Just a breadcrumb of realness left in her palm. She might nod. She might look away. She might say nothing. Still, it will land, because truth wrapped in touch is the kind of message her body still remembers how to receive. Now, once presence and truth have re-entered the room, there's one more step, a quiet closing of the gap. Set aside 5 minutes. That's all. Tell her gently, I'd like to just sit with you tonight. No phones, no television, just us. She may smile, or blink, or ask why. You don't need to explain. Just do it. Sit down. Let your shoulders touch. Take her hand if she offers. If not, let the space between you grow quiet, not heavy, just still. Breathe. Be. And then, before you rise to leave, say this. I want to learn how to be close again. Even if it's slow, even if I'm rusty, because you still matter to me. That's the invitation. No agenda, no outcome, just the laying of a new foundation where pressure once lived. You see, these aren't tactics. They're signals. Signals that say, you are safe. You are wanted. I still choose you. Don't expect her to melt. Don't expect instant softness. This isn't a test. This is a seed, one that needs stillness, consistency, and light. And when you show up for these small moments, again and again, her heart may begin to lean in, before her body ever does. So you reached. You placed your hand on her back. You held her fingers for a moment. You sat quietly beside her, and let your presence say what words never quite could. Now what? Truth is, this next part might be the hardest, because after years of silence, even gentle touch can feel foreign, unexpected, suspicious. She might stiffen. She might say nothing. She might even walk away, as if it meant nothing. But don't be fooled. Her body noticed, even if her mouth didn't speak, even if her heart isn't ready to respond. You see, for her to believe this is real, this softer you, this reaching you, she needs time. Time to trust that it's not just a phase, not a response to a video, not a moment of guilt, or a temporary experiment, because you had a wake-up call. She needs repetition to feel safe again. So don't stop. Don't retreat. And above all, don't take her hesitation personally. You're not being rejected. She's just watching, waiting, wondering if this version of you will stay. And this is where most men quit. They expect a spark, a soft landing, a grateful wife who leans back in just because they reached once or twice. But that's not how repair works. Not after years of drift. What comes after the first reach is the long road of showing up, again and again and again, not with grand gestures, but with gentle proof, the kind of proof that says, you're not alone in this house. You don't have to carry your softness alone. You can come closer now, I'm not going anywhere. And you'll need patience, not performance, not technique, just patience, because the goal isn't to get back what you had. The goal is to build what you never quite learned to build the first time around, a space where two people can grow old and still feel new. Touch isn't just skin, it's signal. It tells her, the man who once loved you with hands full of youth has now learned to love you with hands full of presence. So if her response is soft, hold it gently. If it's quiet, let it be. Keep showing up, without fear, without timeline, because you're not reaching for results. You're reaching for reconnection. And that, my friend, is the slow work of real intimacy. Let me leave you with this. You don't have to be perfect to reach again. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to be willing. Because physical affection in a long-term marriage isn't about passion the way it once was. It's about reassurance. It's about returning. It's about saying, without words, I still want to be near you. There is something deeply masculine about reaching for your wife, not out of need, but out of intention. It takes courage to be soft again, after years of silence. It takes strength to lean in, when so much of you has gotten used to pulling away. But here's the truth. She's still there, and so are you. Under the years, the routines, the stress, the changes in your bodies, there's still a pulse between you. Maybe it's faint, maybe it's buried, but it's there. You just have to touch it again. Not with pressure, not with performance, but with presence. So if any part of this conversation spoke to something real in you, if you felt that ache of missing something you didn't even realize had slipped away, then let today be your beginning. Not the end of regret, but the start of remembering. If that feels true for you, write it down below. Just type, I choose to reach again. Oh, that's it. No fanfare. Just a quiet promise. To yourself and to the woman beside you. Whether or not she's ready to respond. And if you're ready for the next step, stay with us. Because tomorrow, we're talking about something even more subtle, something even more overlooked. We'll explore 5 signs your wife still wants you, even when she's gone completely quiet. You won't want to miss it, because sometimes silence isn't a door closing, it's a hand waiting to be held again. Let's walk toward that together.